Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, welcome to the channel. My name is SJ, and I'm a girl who just loves to read and wants to talk about what she's reading because she doesn't have any friends who read, so she decides to create a YouTube channel to talk about the books that she was reading. It's a very lonely life when you're the only person in your friend group who reads and nobody else does. But they like to hear about what you're reading, but they just don't want to pick the book up themselves and read it. So here we are. So this is going to be a continuation from the first video where I'm going to be talking about Lights Out by Navessa Allen. If you have not seen part one, this one's probably not going to make any sense to you, so I would probably suggest, maybe go watching that one if you want to. If not, it's totally cool. It's fine. No big deal. But trigger warning. Just like I put in the first video, I'm going to put it in this one. Trigger warning. This video is going to contain profanity. Talk about sex scenes, talk about hacking, stalking, kinks, so on and so forth. And if you are not comfortable with any of that, I would suggest not watching this video or proceeding with caution. If you feel you cannot watch this video because of the topics that I will be discussing, that is okay. I completely understand and respect your decision, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. But let's get into this. So I have read chapters 7 through 12. I am now on chapter 13, and I have not picked this book up in a day because things got a little hectic and busy, but it's fine. It's fine. I live a busy life. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I got 2 jobs. It's a lot. Anyways, chapter 7 is going to pick up from Allie's point of view. And she's at work. We come to discover that the cameras, like all the home defense equipment that Josh sent her in the mail, Allie has decided to put it all up, and she's at work and she routinely checks the cameras, one of which was a raccoon walking across her back porch, and she saves it because, it's cute, cuddly, little trash panda walking across her porch. She's telling herself, I'm so sick of this. I shouldn't be obsessing over Mask Man, who's Josh. I just need to put the phone down. I don't need to look at it. But what does she do? She picks up the phone. She picks up her phone. She opens up her TikTok app, and she discovers that Josh/Mask Man has posted a new video. And it's just him, laying on his couch, looking sexy, I guess, twirling a knife around in his hands with his, usual mask on, to a song of some man singing about his heart being broken. And Allie's like, oh my God, of course. And the caption that he put on the video reads, "When she's mad at you." Mask Man basically called Allie out pretty much in the video. And she's reading the comments, and the comments are like, who hurt you like this? Give me a name and an address. I'll take care of it. No, I refuse to believe anyone would be mad at him. Ladies, we ride at dawn. When I say I would forgive this man for literally anything. And she kind of says to herself, yeah, you say that now, but just wait until he murders me and comes after you next. Because still in Allie's mind, she really does feel like Mask Man / Josh is a serial killer in a way, kind of thing. Like, he makes these videos to lure his victims in and then does away with them. So Allie just can't contain herself. She can't hold back. And in the heat of the moment, she comments on the video and says, when she has good reason to be mad at you. Did you mean to say? She posts that comment on that video, and within a second, Josh hearts the comment, and then starts following her back. Now, Josh never responds to any of the comments that he gets on his thirst trap videos, and he never follows anybody on his platform. So this is kind of like a big deal. It's a shock. And she all of a sudden starts getting comments saying, ma'am, he liked your comment. Someone else wrote, OMG, she's the only person he follows. But then her phone starts dinging continuously with, forgive him, you monster. What is he like in real life? Are you dating him? So this is what jealous rage feels like? How's it feel to be the most hated woman on the internet right now? If you don't want him, I'll take him. She didn't exactly expect all of this these notifications to be going off with one little comment and stuff like that. But he pretty much called her out with the video and then called her out even more when he hearted her comment and then started following her. So she looks at the hospital camera and she flips it off because she's like, he's probably watching me through that camera right now. He is. He is. We learned that in the previous chapters that yes, he is watching her through the cameras. But she flips it off and all of a sudden her phone chimes. You know, she looks down at it and it's from Mask Man and the message says rude. And she's like, are you seriously watching me right now through these cameras? And he goes, maybe. They banter back and forth after that message. Basically, like, she responds and says, you are breaking so many laws. And he's like, you don't even know half of what I'm up to. And she's like, oh, you're so annoying. I don't even know what to call you. And he's like, how about boo, followed with like little ghost face emoji or whatever. She goes, I am not calling you boo. I'll stick with asshole. Thank you very much. And don't you have anything better to do than spy on me at work? He responds, not really. Insomnia is kicking my ass this week. He also adds, I saw your comment on my video. Looks like everyone else did too. You're real popular right now. With that response, Allie swipes back into her app and looks and she sees that, yeah, she pretty much is popular right now. There were over 100 responses on her comment and they were pretty much out for blood. They are a little, these girls are a little pissed off at her. She responds to Josh and she goes, I blame you for this. And he goes, you're the one who left the comment, Allie. She goes, oh no, you're not pinning this on me. I made a bad choice by leaving it, but it would have gone unnoticed without you interfering. You knew damn well that would happen when you liked it and followed me. He goes, I have no regrets about publicly claiming you. With that message of him basically saying like, I'm publicly claiming you kind of thing, this does turn Allie on a little bit, but she's still really hesitant. She's like, no, I need to take a step back. I don't know if I should fully trust you because you are like a stalker. You broke into my house and filmed a video, but I'm still lusting after you. So she writes back and she goes, I'm not gonna forgive you. And he writes back and he goes, I'm not asking for that yet. But if you want me to stop, just tell me to stop. Basically like, listen, bitch, if you want me to stop stalking you, harassing you, filming videos inside your house, just tell me to stop and I will. It can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. I feel like that's a trick. But Allie doesn't respond. She just puts her phone back in because they had a situation in the hospital come in and she has to run and go do that. She does not leave work until 20 hours later. 20 hours later. Listen, trauma nurses in general, I don't know how you do it because there is no way in hell that I could do that. None whatsoever. So I have mad respect for you guys. But she is tired. She is like stumbling to her car. Snow is coming down. It is about to be blizzard. And she's like, shit, maybe I should call an Uber because there's no way I can drive home right now. So she goes to her car to get some things out. She gets to her car in the employee parking garage and she notices that it is running. And she's like, I don't have remote start on my car. I didn't leave my car running. So how is it running? She walks up to it, and who does she see sitting in the driver's seat of her car? Mask Man. Mask Man has decided to give her a ride home. He noticed how tired she was, what she had gone through at work because he's watching her through the cameras, and was like, I noticed how tired you were, so I decided to come give you a ride home. How sweet. How sweet of your stalker / man who films videos inside your house. How sweet of him to come and give you a ride home because it is basically a blizzard outside and you're tired. Nothing sweeter than your stalker doing that for you. And he basically told her, like, you didn't tell me to stop. So here I am, ready to give you a ride home. She goes, just because I've gone stupid enough that I can't say it right now doesn't mean I'm getting in the car with the man who broke into my house and filmed me without my consent. Because also, he did put a hidden camera in her room after he filmed the video in there to gauge her reaction to see if she would be excited or upset finding out that he filmed a video in her room. He basically tells her, look in the passenger seat. If you're so worried about what I would do to you, look in the passenger seat. In the passenger seat is a knife and a pew-pew for her to protect herself. Little does she know that he actually put blanks in it, so they're not real bullets. The whole time, you know, the door to the car is open. The passenger door is open, and he's sitting in this warm car waiting for her to get in, and she is standing out here just staring into the car, looking at him like, I'm not getting in the car. I'm not in my mind. Well, this is all going through. I'm like, get in the car. Just get in the car. Get in the car. Take your chances at this point. It's freezing cold outside. Snow is coming down. You're tired as hell. Just get in the car. You have a knife and you have a pew-pew. You can protect yourself. You take self-defense classes twice a week. You got this, girl. Just get in the car. Just get in the car. Because this, honestly, this is reminding me of when I pick my kid up from school. I sit in the parent pickup line for 30 minutes until she gets to my car and she opens the door. She puts her phone down first. Then she puts her cup in the cup holder, and then she takes her backpack off, and then she gets in the car. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there like, come on, get in the car. I have been here for 30 minutes already. Just hop in the car. Let's go. After all this deliberation, her gut tells her to just get in the car. And she's actually quite curious because she kind of wants to see how this little car ride is going to play out. Kind of reasons with herself, and she's like, you know, my entire life has been devoted to caring for others. I want someone to take care of me for once. I want someone to want me. No, need me. I want a man so obsessed that he hacked into cameras to watch me when he couldn't sleep. I want him to monitor my location data, order me a home security system so no one else could break into my house, and threaten to murder anyone who hurt me. That's basically Mask Man. That's basically the man you got sitting right there in the driver's seat, getting ready to take you home. Chapter 8 picks up from Josh's point of view, and basically everything that happened in Chapter 7 is happening in Chapter 8, only it's from Josh's point of view. Allie finally gets in the car, and he's like, oh my god, she's so hot, even getting in the car. She's hot. Now, he cannot speak because he doesn't want Allie to know that it's him under that mask, because maybe it'll freak her out a little bit if she finds out that, you know, it's him, Josh, and she, in a way, knows him. So he types into his phone and shows it to her. I'm going to take the back way. I put the directions into my map so you know I'm not lying. She responds with that and says, or you could just show me who you are and drive my car like a normal person. I already know we've met before and it can't be easy to see in that thing. He responds with, I can see fine, and do you really want to ruin the fantasy? They put their seatbelts on because, you know, safety first. And he's putting the car in reverse, and he's like, oh, you know what? She's probably hungry. Let me get my lunchbox because I packed her a bunch of snacks. Just drive. At this point, just drive the car. Like, they're still trying to pull out of the parking spot. Like, they've wasted all this time talking with her, reasoning with herself if she could get in the car or not. And then he's like, oh, you know what? Before I pull out, here's some snacks. Just drive. Just get in the car and go. Well, she doesn't really want to take the snacks right away because she doesn't know if they're poison or not. But he tries some of the food to be like, look, I'm eating it. Slipping it under my mask. I'm eating it. It's not poison. Now eat. And she asks him, did you think you were being funny by posting such a sappy thirst trap after what you did to me? And Josh is just in the driver's seat. Yes, I did think it was funny, but he's not saying that out loud. He's got his mask on. So, again, all I can picture in the driver's seat is Josh looking like this. They finally start driving. They pull out of the parking spot. They pull out of the employee parking garage. It's snowing. It's coming down bad. And Allie basically looks at him and says, thank you for driving me home. I didn't want to call an Uber, and I really didn't want to sleep at work. They get to a stoplight, and they're sitting there, you know, just at the light, waiting for it to turn green, when this truck full of guys pulls up next to them, and they start basically catcalling to Allie. Well, that ain't gonna fly very well with Josh / Mask Man. You know, he's very much a protector. He's like ride or die for Allie pretty much at this point. And he gets out of the car with his mask on and a knife in his hand and just stands there and looks menacingly. And these guys are like, oh shit, and they drive away. The only issue with Josh getting out of the car is the fact that Allie saw that he was a little happy down there in his pants. So he's like, oh shit, did she see? Did she not? No, she definitely saw. She definitely saw. And when he sets the knife down in the center console, she picks up and she goes, you know, I thought this was fake. Wow, it's very sharp. And she pretty much, you know, goes, I want to see it. Ma'am, that's very forward of you, but okay. Please. She adds in, please. While she's asking all of this, she has the knife in her hand and she's using the tip of it to drag it up the hem of his shirt. To basically like raise his shirt, I guess, to also see, you know, his well-cut abs. She goes, all this time, you've been trying to reassure me that I'm safe with you. But did you ever stop to consider whether or not you were safe with me? She continues with, that video you sent me was such a tease. All your videos are. Is that what you're like in real life? And Josh, because, you know, he can't talk, he can't respond because he doesn't want Allie to recognize his voice, just nods his head yes. Yes, he is a tease. He slides her hand down his pants and, you know, cups what's in there. And she goes, I knew you'd be big. And then she just, you know, releases it pretty much. Goes, I won't do it if you don't promise to be a good boy. Well, this unlocks something in Josh and he's like, dang, I have a praise kink too. Please continue to call me a good boy. And then she says, don't misconstrue this. I'm still mad. This isn't for you. This is something I've dreamed about for months and I'm not going to deny myself a chance to touch you just because we're in a fight. And in Josh's mind, he's just like, aw, our first official fight. I just want you to know, Allie still has the knife. She still has the knife in her hand, her other hand. She ends up pleasuring Josh with the knife still in her hand, and somehow while she was pleasuring Josh, she ended up like stabbing him like in the hand. And Josh is trying to hide the fact that his hand is now pretty much gushing blood because he wants Allie to finish. And he does end up finishing, and she goes, when she sits up and she, you know, wipes her mouth off and everything, she looks and she goes, what the fuck did you do? Oh, Jesus, I think you need stitches. Chapter 9 picks up from Allie's point of view, and she's just like, Jesus, I stabbed a man. Jesus, take me now. I stabbed a man while giving him head. Finally back at her house, and she pretty much is stitching up his hand. She's not the greatest at doing stitches, so it is a little crooked, but she does tell him pretty much like, these are the things you need to look out for in case it starts to get infected. He basically tries to get Mask Man / Josh to stay, but he tells her, you know, in text, no, you need to take a shower and you need to get some sleep. You are tired. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Josh leaves. Allie gets some sleep. She awakes 12 hours later to the sound of a door closing, and she sits up and she discovers that, yeah, Mask Man was there. He pretty much left her breakfast in her fridge. Pancakes with strawberries and whipped cream. I need someone to leave me breakfast in my fridge or just make me breakfast in general. Like, shoot. Where can I find me a Mask Man / Josh where I don't have to do anything and they can just leave me food? After she discovers the food in her fridge and everything, she gets a text message, and it is from Tyler, her ex, also Josh's roommate. And she had contacted Tyler to try and figure out like how to block Mask Man and pretty much, you know, just maybe find out who he is kind of thing. And Josh is like a cybersecurity guy, so she's like, maybe he can help me. So the text reads, "Hey, Allie, I know you probably work tonight, but do you have time to swing by here first and talk to Josh? He said he's free." She responds, "If I leave soon, yes. Does half an hour from now work for him?" Tyler responds with, "He said yes. I won't be here. Is that okay? Josh is cool." She goes, "I'm sure it'll be fine." He says, "Kay, good luck. Here's his number so you can text him when you get here." Chapter 10 is going to pick up from Josh's point of view, and it's a little bit of banter between him and Tyler. Tyler asking him, "Are you going to be okay with Allie coming over?" and this and that. Josh telling him, like, "Yeah, I'm going to be completely fine. Don't you worry. Don't cancel your date. Continue to go on your date. I'm going to be just fine." Tyler tells him, "Okay, man, don't hesitate to text me if you need to, and I'll come right home." Josh is like, "Yeah, man, no worries. Just go on your date. Have fun." Tyler leaves, and now Josh has to take all the precautions that he needs to make sure that Allie does not find out that he is Masked Man. So he's got to put gloves on because, one, he has to hide his tattoos, but he also has to hide the now, stitches that he has on his hand because Allie stabbed him while they were having some fun the night before. So he turns the heat down in the apartment to make it cold to where it's like, "That's why I'm wearing gloves, Allie, because it's a little chilly in here." He also has on long sleeves to hide the rest of his tattoos. He brings his laptop and everything out of his room and into the living room because he can't have Allie go in his room where she's going to see the bed that he films on, the wall, the couch, all of that. She can't see all that because she can't know that he is Masked Man. So while he's doing all this, his phone does ping to let him know, like, "Hey, Allie's here and she's coming up the steps and she will be at the door shortly." She arrives at the door. He opens it and he extends his hand out. Stupidly, he extends the hand out that is the hand that she stabbed him in. Like, he could have used his other hand. I don't know what he was thinking. He wasn't thinking at that point. Honestly, throughout all this, I don't think anyone is thinking. They are all acting on hormones and kinks. They're not using their head. He goes, "Allie, right?" And she's like, noting the gloves and everything. She's like, yeah, thanks for helping me." They shake hands, but she squeezes a little too hard on the hand that has the stab wound on it and the stitches. And he has to hide the fact that was a little painful. She had a little bit of a tight grip right there on his hand. He comes in, she takes a seat. He's like, "Would you like some coffee?" She says yes. And then he looks at her and goes, "Just half and half, right?" And that kind of takes her back by surprise because how does he know that she likes half and half? Because she's remembering the fact that all she had in her fridge was half and half. And he's like, "Don't worry. I remember how you liked it from all those times that you used to stay over when you were pretty much hooking up with Tyler." And she's like, oh yeah. Coffee's done. He hands it to her and he's like, "Why do you need to find this person?" Tyler was kind of vague. And she goes, "That's my fault. I didn't want to go into details with him." And he's like, "Okay then, do you at least have a starting point, a name or an address?" And she goes, "Please don't judge me for what I'm about to show you." And he watches as she unlocks the screen, noting her passcode, mind you, and waited until she pulled up the social media app and basically showed Josh his own profile pretty much because he's Masked Man, but Allie doesn't know that he's Masked Man. It's like, "You're not some rabid fangirl trying to find out where he lives, right? Because stalking is a crime, Allie." He goes, "I know it's a crime. It's someone else who has the boundary issues." He's like, "Oh." He goes, "It's a long, insane sounding story and I don't want to get into it with a near stranger." No offense, because she does consider Josh in a way kind of like a stranger because she's never really interacted with him much while she was hooking up with Tyler. She's, I think, had like one interaction really with him. Goes, "None taken. I'm just a little worried this ends with me getting charged as an unwitting accomplice in someone's murder." Allie goes, "It's my murder you should be more concerned about." He goes, "Are you joking? You think this guy is going to kill you?" She goes, "No, I mean, I hope not. I'm making this sound so much worse than it is." He goes, "If I thought I was truly in danger, I should have gone to the cops. This guy has just been messing with me a little in a mostly harmless way, and I'd like to get back at him." Josh goes, "I don't know. This seems like something the authorities should handle." Allie shakes her head. "No, I want to do this my way. Will you help me or not?" "I totally understand if you're too freaked out, though." Josh goes, "I'll help, but please go to the police if things escalate or you feel unsafe. Basically, he starts doing his little coding stuff in front of her, and she's kind of like upset, a little sad really, because she's like, wow, it doesn't just happen right away. Like, it's going to take a while. And he's like, yeah, it's going to probably take like a few hours. And she's like, oh, well, I got to get to work, unfortunately. Allie does have to leave to go to work. And, you know, Josh is still on his laptop, hacked into the hospital cameras, watching Allie. Allie's at work, yeah. Right here. I can see her working. She's a goddamn rock star. Look at her doing her job, caring for all her patients. Yeah. While Josh is in his little fantasy world watching Allie, being amazed at how great she is at being a nurse, how she's a goddamn rock star, he falls asleep. Falls asleep at his laptop while he was busy watching this girl that he is like stalking. And he gets awoken because his phone starts going off with an alarm because he's also hacked into Allie's home security defense system thing and notices that there's a lot going on outside of her house, and he realizes, oh shit, she's already home from her shift and I wasn't there in her house. I wasn't broken into her house waiting for her. Chapter 11 is going to pick up from Allie's point of view, and all of a sudden I'm reading it, you know, chapter 11, Allie, Josh was the faceless man. I didn't know how I knew it, but I did. She somehow has pieced it all together, and in her mind, she's like, it's Josh. Josh is Mask Man. She said the second Josh opened his apartment door, the certainty hit her like a punch to the gut. He'd already been near the top of my suspect list. I'd met him, he was good with computers, and he had the right body type. But seeing him in the flesh confirmed it. Basically goes, if Josh was Mask Man, that meant I might get kinky sex, witty banter, easy conversation, and even a new gym buddy all in one. Yes, please. So she's kind of like, you know, if he is Mask Man, that might be a good thing, you know? I think I would like it if Josh was Mask Man. She gets home from her shift at work, opens the door, and she's a little upset because Mask Man isn't there. She was kind of expecting Mask Man to be at home waiting for her. Because Allie is a little pissed that Mask Man is not home waiting for her when she gets home, she's like, I'm going to get back at him for this. I'm going to get back at him for him not being here. And I am going to get back at him for all the times that he made me laugh when I was just furious at him. She opens her nightstand. She takes out the hidden camera that Mask Man / Josh had put in her room, and it's like disguised as like a little phone charger. She plugs it in and she's like, he's gonna get a notification that I have plugged this in and I have turned it back on. And she also takes out her favorite little sex toy and is starting to get positioned on the bed when her phone goes off with a message from Josh / Mask Man. What are you doing? She goes, keep watching and find out. And she just goes to town. She just goes to town and have some fun. As she is going to town and she's having some fun, she's basically pleasuring herself, she hears a loud bang. And who comes into the room? None other than Mask Man. Comes into the room and goes, don't stop on my account. He walks over to her and basically tightens his hand around her neck and looks down at her and goes, are we doing this? She's like, you know, he didn't have to explain himself. Doing this meant finally playing out our shared fantasies. And she looks at him and she goes, yes. He goes, no safe words. You want me to stop? Just say no. No matter when. No matter what I'm doing to this greedy little... And they just do their thing. And it was a little wild. Yeah, so this whole chapter right here, good portion of chapter 11, I can't exactly say what they're doing, but it was a little hot and steamy, let me just tell you that. My God. Chapter 12 is going to pick up from Josh's point of view, and it's basically a couple hours after they had their little fun, sharing out their, you know, little kinky fantasies. So happy for them to have finally, you know, done the deed, but not really done the deed because they didn't have full-on sex. But anyways, he's in the kitchen just making her breakfast. Just sitting there cooking up some bacon, cooking up some eggs and toast and everything while she's, you know, like freshening herself up from all the fun they just had. But the entire time that he is in the kitchen making her breakfast, he has his phone propped up because he's watching her through the hidden camera that is still in her room. Like, you're just in the kitchen. She's just down the hall and you're still watching her. But it's kind of a good thing that he was watching her, because she goes and places a little hidden tracking device into his backpack. He goes, "Oh, this is going to be so much fun. I knew she'd be a worthy adversary in the game we played, and I was proud that she'd risen to the challenge so quickly. But what to do about her little spy device? I could put it in a plastic baggie and drop it into a river. Tie it to a subway rat and let her think her stalker lived underground, like the mole people rumored to dwell below the city." So he's going through all of this, and then he's like, we'll get to that. But first, let me go serve her breakfast and tell her, you were perfect. You were perfect tonight. I also forgot to mention that the reason he is able to talk to her finally instead of just continuing to message her is because he got a voice modulator kind of thing that he is able to place in his mask to disguise his voice. So while she's eating her breakfast, he's basically like, yeah, I gotta go. It's time for me to go. You need some sleep. I'll see you later, baby. So he gets in his car. He's driving back. And he's like, you know, it was a good thing I was watching her, or I would have stumbled into her little trap with this tracking device. So he's driving. And she is now in her home watching the tracking device move through her app to find out where he lives and who he could potentially be, because she's like, I know this is Josh, and I'm going to watch him drive to him and Tyler's apartment, and I'm going to be like, aha, I knew it. I knew Mask Man was Josh. But she doesn't quite know that Josh was, you know, he already knew that the tracking device was in there. So he's driving and he's going up and down streets. The way Josh was driving, he basically spelled out LOL, like, ha ha, I knew you were tracking me. I love that. I for some reason, that little bit, I was like, I love that. Well, she's now rightfully pissed because she has now found out that somehow Josh / Mask Man knew that she was tracking him. She remembers that that little phone charger camera is still plugged into the wall. Goes up to it and bends down into it and says, I bet you're real proud of yourself right now, Josh. You think I don't know who you are, but I do. None of your bullshit threw me off. In fact, it did nothing but confirm my suspicions. I tried to do this nice way, beat you at your own game, but F it. You're not playing fair, so neither will I. Guess what? I plucked a few pieces of hair off your sweater while rubbing your back yesterday, and if you think I'm not going to DNA test them against the bloody bandages I stashed in my freezer, you're dead ass wrong. Later, boo. And Josh is just kind of sitting back in his car like, well, that just happened. But goes, unfortunately, I grabbed that sweatshirt from Tyler's dirty laundry basket just in case she was as devious as I was and did something like this. She was going to be so mad when the DNA didn't match. Josh spends the rest of the drive home laughing, picturing the range of emotions that would play out over her face when she realized she was either wrong or, even worse, had been outsmarted again. These two, I swear, they got this love-hate relationship, and I'm kind of like all here for it. That was 7 through 12. Right now, the only thing that I'm not liking with this book is, while I can handle the switching back of the POV, like the point of view, with it switching back, it kind of picks up right where the other POV left off, and it kind of drags a scene out longer than it needs to be dragged out. But the spice is spicing. It is spicing. The kinks are kinking, if that makes any sense. And I am all here for it. Like, Let's go. We are back, and all I'm gonna say is I don't know if my phone is listening to me while I make these videos, or if it is listening to me when I discuss this book with my friends and my fiance. But my TikTok has become nothing but thirst trap videos of guys dressed in ghost face masks, and I feel like it's getting a little personal there because I love the Scream movie franchise. I am a Stu girl until the day I die. So the fact that they are hot guys wearing ghost face masks, I feel like it is speaking to my soul. And let me just say, I get it. I get it now. Allie, girl, I get you. I get what you mean now. But we are picking up from chapter 13 and going into chapter 17. So 13 is going to pick up from Allie's point of view. And she takes the blood that she has from when she stitched up Josh's hand and the hair that she plucked off of his shirt. And she takes it to like the lab tech at her job. And she wants her to run like a DNA analysis on it. And the DNA analysis is like, yeah, honey, sweetie, it's going to take a couple weeks. This ain't like the show CSI where I just plug it in, go boop, 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 and it pops out what it is. Allie's upset that it's going to take a couple weeks, but she's like, all right, whatever. I get it. It's fine. So she's going back to, do her job or whatever. She takes out her phone and she checks it. And she notices that Josh has posted a brand new video. And it has 2 captions on it. One that says, sure, take your time, Allie, but I'm going to torture you with my absence until you come to your senses. Because he asked her, like, on a scale of like 1 to 10, how mad at you about the tracker that I found out you put a tracker. And she's like, I'm going to need a few days. But the video also had another caption that said mommy and daddy time, because Josh refers to Fred, Allie's cat, as their son, which at first I was like, that's creepy. Now I'm just kind of like, that's kind of cute. That's kind of cute. And like a sick, twisted way. My God, do I need therapy? Anyways, the comments on the video are, oh my God, he's married. This just proves that all good ones are taken. I knew I'd been calling him daddy for a reason. Allie, girl, you won. Okay, but how are you going to tell your wife that this video just got me pregnant? Are you accepting applications for a third? If my future husband ain't like this, I don't want him. I don't think I wanted kids until I just pictured this man holding a baby. Yeah. Next couple days, just go by, and all of a sudden a patient comes in, and none of the nurses, which are all girls, want to take care of this patient. Why? Because he had been in a few weeks prior for potentially raping a girl, and he got away with it. Why did he get away with it? Because money talks. When you come from a big family who owns some big name company, money talks. And it's really sad how that works, because that even works in the real world, which is shitty. But nobody wanted to take care of him because he was a rapist and they didn't want to get hurt, and they were all females and they didn't have a male member on staff just yet. So Allie just pulls her big girl panties up and decides to be like, yo, I'll go do it. I mean, you guys will be back here watching me. If anything happens, I'll be fine. The rapist's name is Brad, and everything is going fine. She's treating him and everything, but still looking out of the corner of her eye at him, when all of a sudden he makes a move towards her to grab her. And Allie jumps back, and he goes, so jumpy, you must be afraid. She looks him dead in the eyes and goes, afraid of some shrimp-dicked, spoiled brat? Go ahead, try to grab me again. I'd love to see how a coward like you holds up against a fully conscious woman. Let me tell you, Allie girl, you are badass. Well, that just does something in Brad, and all of a sudden he starts screaming like he's the motherfucking victim. Allie should have just went, well, bam, right in his face, because that's what I would have wanted to do. But he just starts screaming like he's the victim, like, oh my God, this nurse is hurting me. Oh my God, somebody help. So, everybody rushes in, but naturally, nobody really asks if he's okay. They ask if Allie's okay, because they all know how Brad is. They know how he is. Meanwhile, Josh is watching all of this go down in the camera, because, he hacked into the cameras, because What stalker who also loves you wouldn't do that? Anyways, chapter 14 picks up from Josh's point of view, where he decides to meet Allie at her house because he's like, something is wrong with her. I need to make sure she's okay. Fuck giving her any type of space or time or anything like that. I'm going to her house now. He catches her right when she's getting out of the shower, right when he's bringing in like a cup of tea to help calm her down and everything, and they bump into each other and he spills a hot tea all over his hand, and then she's got to help him like make sure like it's not burned or anything. Like, Allie just be scarring this man up. First she stabs him in the hand and now she burns him. It's, what we doing here, Allie? Because right after Allie gets out of the shower, mind you, she is still wrapped in a towel, all of this, they are in close proximity to one another, and it just escalates. It escalates from there. And my reaction when I read this part, I posted a video of it and stuff like that, like a little short or whatever on my other channel, but, and my TikTok, but in the beginning of this book, there is a little thing in here from the author that says, for everyone brave enough to ride the handle. Now, mind you, my mind was in the gutter when I read that because my mind is always in the gutter. But I have definitely found out what that means. And I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock. Basically, I'll just kind of like summarize it. I can't go into detail because my God. But basically, he takes a knife, stabs it into the mattress, and says, come here, Allie. I want to watch you ride it. I can't. Like, oh my God. Anyways, chapter 15 picks up from Allie's point of view, and she's riding that handle. She is riding that handle. Wow. So chapter 16 picks up from Josh's point of view. Yes, chapter 15 was just, it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was a good a lot. Yeah. Anyways, chapter 16 picks up from Josh's point of view, where they are awoken because Josh stayed the night. Allie asked Josh to stay the night, and Josh said, okay. So they fell asleep together on the bed. They're awoken to an alarm going off because Josh has the motion cameras that are on Allie's house. He has them connected to his phone too, where it'll set an alarm off if anything happens. And it's a good thing he did. Good thing he did, because there was someone lurking outside of Allie's back door. So Josh gets up to, be the protector, figure out who it is, and it's none other than Brad, the rapist, the one who tried to make a move at Allie, and Allie shot him down. And as soon as Brad opens that door, Josh just, bam, right in the face, knocks him out cold, and then Allie comes out and punches him once in the ribs, punches him and kicks him another time in between the legs. And they look through his backpack and they notice he's got everything that you would possibly need if you were going to carry out a murder. Chloroform, zip ties, rope, all that kind of stuff. So they decide to be like, you know what? Let's take him to his last victim's house and have the brother, father, and uncle have their way with him. And I'm sure they would love that. So they knock him out with his chloroform. They hog tie him, and Josh puts a piece of tape over his face. And they drive their little car. Well, Josh's car. They stuff him in a ski, like a ski bag, like a big duffel bag, into the back of the trunk. And they just drive their car out to the last victim's house. And when they get there, Allie opens the trunk and goes, shit, Josh, he's dead. Your dumbass put the tape not only on his mouth, but over his nose too. You killed the guy. What? So now they can't drop him off at the last victim's house. They're like, well, what are we going to do now? Allie's like, I'm gonna call my cousin. He has ties to the mob. And that is where I'm going to leave you for part 2 of the review of Lights Out. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave it on the cliffhanger. I will do part 3 for you guys. Don't worry. I'm enjoying this so much. When I first went into this book, I will admit I was very taken aback because I did not know that this was going to be a dark romance. Dark romance is pretty much uncharted territory for me. I have read smut. I get it. Smut is smut, and I was thinking that this was along those lines, but then I realized, no, this is a dark romance. I am enjoying this. Like, this is a fun, wild, crazy ride, and I have now picked up quite a few other books that are along the dark romance line, and I've also started listening to the audiobook of Little Stranger. I've told some of my friends of what I'm reading and what I am listening to and just kind of like summarize it for them, and they're like looking at me like I probably need years worth of therapy. But there's something about these dark romance books that just pull you in, and you just sit there when you get to the certain parts and stuff like that, and you just giggle and you laugh. It's fun to pick something like this up every once in a while and just kind of like shut yourself out from the real world. If that makes any sense, if you get what I'm saying. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And there is a sequel to this coming out, and yes, I will be there when it hits store shelves, picking it up and devouring it like I am devouring this one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed part 2. I will see you in part 3. Love you. Bye.